Hello YouTube. Today I'm doing a top 5 modifications I've done to my Fiesta ST so far, and it'll include prices, the brands of what I've done, and if I recommend them or not, and whether you should do it to your Fiesta ST. And yeah, well, let's get straight into it. Now, the first modification we have on the list is an upgraded air intake system. You want to opt for a cold air intake, so with a heat shield and proper air feed, so it's not just sucking in all the hot air, otherwise you will, lose power. I opted for the Revo full air intake system. It's got the crossover down to the pod filter, and I think it cost me around $270. So, but that was used, so I bought it off Facebook Marketplace. Pretty good price for the whole thing, and it's so far been quite good, especially with this one. With the heat shield, it's blocking out all the hot air. You're getting straight air feeds. I have a fog light vent straight to there, so it feeds cold air straight into the pod filter. You might see very minimal horsepower gains. It's only when you would get like a tune, like a stage 1, stage 2, that it would come into effect and really you'd notice the gains out of it. But for the most part, without a tune, you're doing it pretty much just all for the sounds. It really, you can hear the intake noises a lot more. It gets turbo noises like noises, and if you have an upgraded diverter valve, which we'll get into as one of the next mods on this list, it will, depending on what you do to it, will make flutter noises like this one does. And as for me recommending it, I highly recommend as one of your first mods, not purely for horsepower gain, but just for the noises. It makes the car a lot more fun to drive, and you can really make obnoxious noises as you drive past people and their heads like whip around, and it's pretty funny. Number 2 on the list are a set of wheels and tires. You can never go wrong with getting a set of wheels, not only to make your car look a lot better depending on what wheels you get. You want to get good high quality ones that are, light, and they can add performance if they're lighter. And adding a good set of sports tires will increase the grip and the way your car handles it. It's one of those things, like especially tires, that makes the car feel a lot different, and is definitely a recommended modification to do. And so these wheels are quite dirty. I haven't washed them, but that's a problem with silver wheels. But overall, definitely a modification I would recommend. These wheels specifically are 15-inch. They are Team Dynamics. They have an offset of 30, and they were, I think, $1,350 delivered. So in my opinion, that's quite a good price for all four. They're really high quality wheels, and paired with RE 003s, the grip is quite good. It never loses traction ever. So definitely on the list of recommendations and mods that you should definitely do as one of the first ones. Number 3 is a catback exhaust system. These are one of the best modifications you can definitely do as one of the first mods you do to a car, because it just makes the car sound a lot better. You want to hear, when you drive a car, you want to hear the car and how it sounds, right? You want to get that nice exhaust sound, and getting a catback system is definitely one of those ways, especially paired with an air intake. You get an air intake system, an exhaust, and for most people that'll be enough noises the car will ever have to make. This specific exhaust here is a custom made one by Windsor Exhaust, and it's a 2.5-inch stainless steel. So it has 2 resonators, and the reason for that is so it eliminates a lot of the exhaust drone. So it's loud, but when it comes to driving on freeways, just everyday driving, the drone that the exhaust produces is minimal. Like extremely minimal, which I really enjoy. So it's that nice mix of loudness to also not draininess, and it's just a great exhaust note as well. These cars, especially the STs, aren't known to have like the greatest exhaust sound, and a lot of times it's not people's cup of tea, but for me this exhaust sounds really good, and I'm definitely happy with it. It not only sounds better, but it also slightly increases throttle response, and can increase power very slightly, because there's obviously not, you're enabling the exhaust to breathe better. There's not much restrictions, so it's definitely recommended. Like, highly recommend getting a catback exhaust. A lot of people go for muffler deletes, and that's good and all. Like, some cars can sound good with muffler deletes, and it's cheap. But the problem with that though is, like, you're still keeping the same exhaust diameter. So if you get, especially on turbo cars, on a naturally aspirated, it's alright. But on turbo cars especially, you want to have good, like a bigger diameter exhaust for the flow, because the flow is important. And what you can do eventually, if you want to go stage 2 with these cars, you can, after you get a catback system, you can get an upgraded downpipe with like a sports cat, or just because the cat on these cars, and the downpipe, just the downpipe in general, is a big restriction on these cars. So just getting a full turbo back exhaust is definitely recommended as well. But for the time being, if you're not planning on going stage 2 anytime soon, because it is quite expensive, you need like intercooler and all those sort of things, catback exhaust, definitely recommended. Now, the fourth modification on this list is an upgraded diverter valve. So I've got the GFB diverter valve plus on my car, and it's basically just an adaptation to the stock diverter valve, and it just strengthens it and adds like an extra piece to the bottom of it, and it is definitely makes a difference to the sound of the car. It paired with an air intake, it makes a huge difference. I've done a little modification to it where I've added a little like a very tiny washer to one of the pistons that comes in the GFB package, and what that does is it makes it so the pressure required for the turbo to push the piston in to create like that noise is slightly increased, so it'll need more, which means that you get turbo flutters on low boost, and obviously when you go high boost it vents as normal. So it definitely creates some funny turbo noises, and it's definitely one of those mods that increases how fun the car is, and definitely makes it, yeah, it's just a good mod. And I think from memory I got it for, it's on their website, GFB DV Plus. It's, I think it was around 170 bucks. Could be wrong, 180, around there. So it's fairly cheap for what it is. It's a nice quality part as well. And yeah, you pair that with air intake, and it sounds, you get funny turbo noises and everything. So definitely on the list as well. The last mod on this list as well is a mod that you can't see, obviously. Same with the diverter valve plus. I'll actually have a video on me installing the diverter valve on the car. It should be uploaded at the same time this YouTube video is uploaded, so you guys can go check that out if you want. But the last one is a rear motor mount. So an upgraded rear motor mount, or like people call it like torque mounts or whatever. It's one of those mods for like handling and the way it feels. So it definitely increases the feeling of shifting. It makes the shifts more smooth when you're going high RPMs, and it basically gives you slightly more throttle response as well, because it's eliminating some of that torque slack that from the engine rocking and stuff like that. So yeah, just overall makes the handling a lot better and makes the car feel better. Mine is a Vibratechnics rear motor mount. I got it second hand for like $200-ish, around 200. So again, quite good. A lot of these mods that I got on my car, except for the exhaust and the GFB diverter valve plus, I got used, and they all seem to be holding up perfectly fine, and I got them for a lot cheaper than what they were. The Revo intake system, the original price of that on the website was around $1,000, so down to 250 bucks from that, I'd take that any day, and no problems at all with it. So yeah, and those are the top 5 modifications that I've done to my car so far. Definitely modifications that are easy, cheap, and make a huge difference. And you combined a lot of these mods you do, if you do them all at the same time, it makes a huge difference in the way the car feels. So I would definitely recommend them all. I have a bonus modification at the end. Simposer delete. Do this ASAP. It is a horrible piece of machinery or a part of the stock engine that should just be instantly removed. I've used just a 3D printed like cylinder with a little like lip around it so it holds, and I just printed it in ABS, and I just put it in there, use the stock clamp, and that's worked a treat. And yeah, you want to get rid of the Simposer, because it just produces all these like fake engine noises that you want to get rid of, especially if you're doing an air intake and exhaust, all that sort of stuff. You want to get rid of that Simposer as soon as possible. Yeah, you just chuck it in the bin instantly. Like, I'll just crush it under my foot. It's the worst thing. So it is kind of annoying to get out. You have to get like some pliers and like make sure you get either ends and sort of squish them together, put the thing out, and then you just have to sort of rip it out. It gets your knuckles, gets your fingers, gets all the skin off them. It's very annoying. You want to bash your head against a brick wall. And yeah, overall good modification to do if you have the willpower. Anyways,